Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 99th video of my video journal series. Today's date is Monday, the 18th of May, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And something I wanted to discuss with you today is, well, before I get into that, I'll discuss how my day's been. My day's been pretty good, and I just stayed home, just trying to do some finishing touches on my work that I have to do. And I'm nearing completion. Hopefully, I'll get a lot more free time these coming days. And oh man, tomorrow's going to be the 100th video. What am I going to do for the 100th video? Well, I've still, I guess, got some time to think about it, but I want to keep it a surprise. Anyway, so I guess for today's video, I want to talk about time, more specifically our senses of time. Why is it that, the period from 9 o'clock p.m. to around 12 o'clock in the morning just goes by like that, It's a period of 3 hours, right? Usually it was that time where I came home after work, after school, not after school, sorry, but once I've done all my like schoolwork and education, and if I went out for the day, always be home by like 9 o'clock. Stop studying, have dinner, have a shower, and all that. But the period from 9 is where I finish like all my activities for the day, and 12 o'clock in the morning just goes by extremely fast. I'll say it's a lot more, it's a lot faster than the period from like maybe 12 to 3, 12 p.m. Oh, sorry, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Yeah, or even 9 to 12. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Because like I don't know why, but time always seems to go very fast, where it's like night out or in the early morning. The early mornings can like go by pretty fast because I guess it's like really busy and all that. But like the period from like 7 a.m. to maybe like 10 or 11 a.m. is like extremely fast, at least for me. And then it's always midday where it seems like the longest, and then late evening, nighttime just goes by like that. There's some like there's been times where I'm like, all right, I'll go to bed at 10 o'clock. I scroll, watch some YouTube, and then I look at my wristwatch and I'm like, oh, it's 1 a.m. in the morning, you know? Like it goes by just like that. And obviously, like I said, I don't really do much homework or any work at nighttime, but I really feel like that would be, if I'm, I guess, got some energy left in me, I guess that'll be very good time to get a lot of work done, because you can get a lot of work done and time goes by really fast. So it certainly goes a lot more faster than, I guess, the midday, late morning to early afternoon. Um, but yeah, like it always seems like, you know, and I quite like nighttime. I like the peace and tranquility of nighttime, just scrolling on my computer, phone, or whatever, to like the early morning. I know it's a very bad habit, but like, but obviously I like it, but it goes by too fast if you ask me. I think the reason why is because of our perception of time. Because when everything's dark outside, you don't really notice much change, and as such, I believe this is just what I'm like saying. I don't know if there's like any scientific evidence behind this, but like I guess your brain perceives, oh, no change outside, so everything starts to sort of blend in together, and you, I guess, more likely to lose track of time when everything's like the same around you. It's like, I guess it's quite different from like midday, where you've seen the sun rise, and you know you can clearly see movement outside during the day. In terms of people, things, objects, and even like the sun and wind and clouds. Not the wind, but sorry, the clouds and all that. But when it's like pitch dark outside, you don't know if it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, unless you got like a watch on you. You don't know if it's the early morning or if it's just going to be like late afternoon, like late evening. Sorry, I don't know my times. I need to go back to preschool, but like it really just seems like that. And I guess that's due to the fact, well, like if I were to just look outside, right now, and I didn't have like a wristwatch on me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it's 10 o'clock, I don't know if it's 1 o'clock or even 3 o'clock. Um, so I guess that's why my perception of time when it's like pitch dark outside is a lot, I guess, a lot more skewed in that aspect than if it's like sunny outside and you can clearly see movement and you can clearly see or you can guess what time of day it is just judging by like the sun and all that. And I think it's also due to the fact that you're not really doing much at night time anyway. You're most probably like in your bed, just doom scrolling YouTube and all that. So I guess time can quickly go by that aspect. And you know, I guess it's like, have you ever gotten those like moments where you just like wake up in like you know early in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you just like feel like, oh man, why did I wake up? Do I have to go bathroom or something? Do I have to do something? Usually it's for me to go bathroom, but like you suddenly not at 3 o'clock in the morning, but when I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, that's usually because I have something on, or either that or I just have like homework on my mind. Um, so yeah, if I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, all right, well, clearly my body is responding to something, There's clearly something on my mind. I don't know. I gotta go straight to work. I need to do this. And I guess, like obviously if I had the option of sleeping in, I would. But I guess if I wake up early, then that means, something's on. I don't usually wake up that early, but I should because I feel like if the early mornings and late evenings go by fast for me, then that'll be a golden time to do work. Just boot up my laptop, write a few things, um, even just doing a minuscule amount, because time can go by really fast. And I guess that sort of mitigates the amount of, I guess, um, like the psychological effect, sort of, where you're just working on a task, wishing it can end. Well, maybe I should just, obviously don't leave all my work to the late evening, but maybe do some work right before bed, um, just get like even just a few bits in of an assignment or just a task, or even if like a piece of writing, for instance. Um, so yeah, like I said, time can be heavily skewed. Our perceptions of time, I mean, our perceptions of time can be heavily skewed. And for me, it's always early mornings and late evenings where time seems to like fly by. When I'm making these video journal entries, usually if it's like a week, well, it's a weekday, but if it's a weekend, I usually record for around half an hour. And then obviously, I upload these videos onto YouTube, and that whole process of filming and recording takes around an hour, but it doesn't really feel like an hour to me, or even an hour and a half. It really just feels like, a couple of minutes, like maybe half an hour in total, but that's because when this video is like uploading, I'm usually just doing something else. But yeah, I guess and like I said, you can easily lose track of time. You could just say, all right, one more thing before bed, then suddenly you realize, oh, it's early in the morning. I need to go to bed now, sort of thing. Um, and honestly, I wish I was a morning person because, like I said, I just like the very early mornings, maybe like 5 o'clock. Um, when it's like I guess the start, like it's still sort of dark out, but you can clearly see the sun is creeping its way up. Um, I'll now I'll love to wake up at that time, but I feel like I need to on the offset. I need to go to bed a lot earlier, but yet again, I like staying up until. Oh, excuse me. Feel my nose a little bit jittery. I like to stay up till maybe like 12 o'clock in the morning, midnight is usually like I guess my preferred time to sleep because I like just having some time to myself and just like scrolling YouTube and all that late at night or playing games, or reading a book and having no one disturb me. I guess it's a trade off. Would I rather stay up late at night or wake up early in the morning? And I think I'll just choose the first option. But yeah, I guess to cap off this video, because this one's going to be a short one because it's a Monday, but um, yeah, I always find that, yet again, time, I guess the specific time of day is very unbalanced, if you know what I mean. Like early mornings, they can go by really fast because everyone's like rushing the mornings. And it's always the midday, from around maybe 11 o'clock to 2 or 3, where time just seems to be going on and on. It just feels like a whole nother day in of itself. But then after 3 o'clock, from around 3 to 6, things start picking up. And then, from around 6 to 9 o'clock, it goes by like that. And then 9 to like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning is just like, you know, even faster than that. It just goes by insanely fast. And I feel like I can use this to my opportunity. If I'm like, all right, I have to do 2 hours of a task today, I might just do, you know, an hour early on in the day. But then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll do an hour before I get to go to bed, because that always seems to go by really quick. If time goes by really quick, then um, this assignment or whatever I have to do doesn't seem as dreadful as maybe doing it during the middle of the day. And, I'm someone who doesn't really drink caffeine or consume any caffeine anymore. I've been really cracking down on it. And I think it's really like benefited me and my physical and mental well-being, because I always found that like when I used to drink coffee, for instance, you just drink coffee in the morning, you feel so energized, ready to go, and then 3 o'clock, I just feel completely dead. And usually, like a lot of people would just have another coffee. Well, then I realized, well, what energy am I using? And truth be told, I don't know. So yeah, you drink another coffee at 3, and then you like you're still, I guess, energetic until like 6 o'clock, and then I guess you'll really start to feel dead. I never had more than 2 coffees a day. Sorry, I never had more than one coffee a day. I never had two. Sorry, but I can imagine having 2 coffees a day like would not be, I guess, sustainable for me at least. But yeah, I feel like now when I've, I guess, greatly reduced the amount of caffeine that I consume, like the early mornings don't really seem that bad. Gotten used to them, and I guess that's why I see the early mornings going by pretty fast. Um, and I guess that's how really time works. I guess the less you think about time, the faster it goes. And I guess if you're doing a task that you're really engaged in, where you're really like locked in, as the youngsters call it, um, you know, you don't really pay attention to time, and you're like, oh well, the amount of time's gone by. But then I feel like, if you're really, I guess, disengaged in a task where you just wish for it to be over, that's when time can go by very, very slow. And I guess we get a mix of them in life. I sure do. And yeah, that's why, even though I like the early mornings and late evenings, they always seem to go by too fast, if you ask me. Too fast. And I guess, due to, I guess, how little um, change there is outside, I guess, in terms of, movement of people, um, noise and all that, like those small little things, I feel like, can really, I guess, skew our perception sometimes. Because let's face it, midday, everyone's like working and all that. So you see like a lot of movement around you, which indicates a lot's being done in that time. But when you like, I guess, look at a painting or a picture or just like a still for an extended period of time, you see no little change or whatever. You just see the exact same thing, and I guess that's what can kind of contribute to my skewed perception of time, where you just see something that hasn't changed. For example, like this area, right? If I were to just stay in this area, block out all the windows, any source of light, um, I wouldn't know what time of day it is. Like, I wouldn't. And if you got rid of like all the watches and clocks in this room, I guess I wouldn't know what time it is. I wouldn't know how much time has passed, because it's just in that constant, I guess, state where, I can't see any visible change, so I can't really keep track of time in that sense or how much has progressed. But anyway, today's little, I guess, little quote of wisdom for today would be, um, man, I'm gonna run over these quotes soon. What's a little quote? I guess it will be to essentially, um, I must have already said this before, but I'll say to be early. Use time to your advantage and always be early than on time or even late. Because when you're on time, you've just missed the late mark by this much, all right? Um, you know, if you have like something like a job interview, I recommend showing up the minimum at least, the minimum 10 minutes, maybe 20 or even half an hour, but I would never say show up to a job interview less than 5 minutes early. You're always going to be at least 10 or 15 minutes early for a job interview. And yet again, it depends what job you're going for, but like being, I guess, at the very least 10 minutes early would show that obviously you're prepared, um, you can arrive on time to that destination or your future place of work. And I will say, even with that piece of advice, I wouldn't say, be like obviously you want to like come in when like other people are coming in as well. Obviously it'll be little bit awkward if you're like the last one to come in or everyone waits for you. I actually one time applied for a job, and they gave me like different dates for like a job interview. I didn't get this job, by the way, but they gave me like different dates for a job interview, and I picked one. And then um obviously I picked like a later date, so the person on the phone must have like got it confused and put me for like the earlier date. And then I got like a missed call from someone who's like very angry on the phone saying, "Why did you not come to today's job interview?" But I'm like, I had to phone them up again and say, "Hey, I wasn't scheduled for the job interview on this day. I was scheduled for the job interview the week after." So I guess I've experienced how, even though I wasn't responsible for it, I was doing the right thing. They made a mix up. I kind of experienced what like some people react if you don't show up, and I guess if you hold everyone up, even though it wasn't my fault, and I still felt guilty because I'm like, all right, well, there's my chances of a job demolished because someone had like a communication error or something. I don't know if it contributed much towards me not getting that job. And this was like years ago. This was maybe like 4 years ago. This happened. This story, um, but like yet again though, it's not exactly the best thing to be shouted down the phone by someone who um, has gotten things wrong. So yeah, I guess that's always a lesson to show up on time, especially for it's up not on time. So to show up early, yes, to show up early for something like even like a job interview and just things in life in general. If it's like a party or thing with mates and friends, I guess you can rock up like 5 minutes late. Who really cares? Unless it's like a scheduled party, but like at a function or event. But yeah, I'll say be early. And luckily, I've gotten into the habit of being early with things, but it takes a long time. And I guess you can start, if you really want to start being early towards things, I would just say, you know, as soon as you know about something, an event or something that's due at a certain date, just write it down immediately. Write it down and then prep for the worst, prep for travel delays, you know, movements within your schedule. Prep for all of that. Oh, excuse me. And I guess like as a rule of thumb, if you're taking public transport, always add an extra like maybe 10, 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour, depending where you're going for like delays and all that, and having to change modes of transport. Always factor in delays when it comes to public transport. As someone who does rely on public transport, I have to factor in those delays as well. But maybe that's why I'm very early towards stuff because I'm so used to public transport and like services being cancelled and all that. But anyway, I've spoken enough. I can't wait to see you all tomorrow for episode 100. And thank you for everyone who's been watching thus far. And anyone who's new to the channel and this may be their first video, then stay tuned for more, I guess. But thank you for watching. And I guess I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye. See you. Take care. Have a great one.